Here we go.
Here we go. What's going on, everybody? Jorge Aquino coming to you live and direct. This Tormenting Tarmac podcast where the enthusiast never dies. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. You catch me recording on the Friday of Labor Day weekend, baby. Let's go. Even though this podcast won't be out till like probably end of September, beginning of October. But either way, we still do it big. Ready to have a great time. I have a fantastic guest. This guest is man, this guy's like the biggest plug I've ever seen in my entire life in the best way possible. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Ali Hoff, aka Autohofffs on Instagram. If you're not following him, you're doing yourself a disservice. Ali,
Cool.
what's up, man? Welcome to Tormenting Tarmac,
Hey,
brother.
yeah, thank you so much for having me. I don't take being hyped up too easy, but thank you for that amazing intro. I feel
No,
like I
dude, it's my
live up
pleasure.
to.
No, well, dude, seriously, it is my pleasure, and I'm so grateful that you went ahead and came on. And seriously, all I hear is I've heard from like five different people. It's like, yo, do you know Ali? Do you know Ali from Autohofffs? And it's like, yeah, I follow him. And he's the tits. And so now that we're here, shout out to our mutual boy Dylan, race car Dill, our guy.
Feeling.
Um, like, you know, if you had to go ahead and uh do like an elevator pitch for yourself, Ali, how would you introduce yourself to people like with how you do? Because I feel like in a weird way, you're like the 2024 edition of like what Tej was at the beginning of the Fast and the Furious, like where he was organizing and collecting. I feel like you do that, but for car events in Southern California and in Northern California. Would I be all right in kind of describing you in that way?
Oh, if the elevator, is a short ride, I'd just say, "Hi, my name's Olive, and I like to party." But
Dill said you'd say that, dude.
did he?
Yeah.
Well, it's because I say it. Um, but I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. I got to
Yeah.
play with cars. I've worked in a lot of different spaces and a few different industries, and I feel like work is kind of a party, and
Right.
I'm just kind of talking with friends and doing stuff that like I started out doing for free now, and I have the opportunity to sustain my life upon it. Right? I don't want to
Right.
say it's making me rich or anything, but everybody keeps telling me I'm headed in the right direction, but my accountant says otherwise. So we'll see where that ends up. But
People.
uh but yeah, I elevator pitch. Basically, I run the marketing for a handful of different automotive businesses.
I got you.
And some of those businesses, are events and depending on which client it is, depends on what I do for them. It's pretty hard for even people that want to hire me. They don't even know what I do and they want to hire me. And it's like it's hard for me to consolidate the value I can bring to an organization that's automotive or an event of any sort. So uh, if you don't mind me diving right in a little bit,
Let's do
uh,
it.
I've done marketing for different types of sales for years, and I did sales management. I was in some sort of real estate. I hate saying timeshare, but that's what it was. I was an AT&T store manager. I was a sales manager for that timeshare corporation. I worked at a couple car dealerships. I was an internet sales manager, doing all these different types of sales in various industries. And I had a couple other odd jobs, a couple months here, try that out, figure out, nah, that's not what I want to do. Go over here, same thing. And through all that experience, I was actually building social media pages and running them with some friends and partners, whatever. And they had six-figure followings, 100, 200, 300,000 followers, and through that, people knew that I did that because I started saying, okay, well, we have this large following and we're doing nothing with it. Let's make something tangible out of it. And so I would started hosting events and putting together drives and I would go out and the way I do things is like if it's my reputation and I was younger at the time, it was in my early mid 20s. It's like if I'm going to put my name on this with all these people, it's got to be good. And so that's what I did. I had not really gone on any on my own, but I figured out how others have done it and took it to the next level and took everything out of my pocket. I'd have breakfast, I'd go arrange lunch at a discounted rate and plan the route and have this stop and organized and whatnot. And then that's how I started really networking in the supercar world. Um, I've always been in the car world my whole life. My grandfather has restored, concourse level cars and celebrity cars for 45 years now. My dad has worked in the automotive business, my stepdad, for the past 25 years or so, 20, 25 years. And he's currently sales manager at a Porsche dealer here in Sacramento that just opened up. So it wasn't just something that I found a passion in. I was nudged heavily by the men closest to me
For sure.
uh, in that direction and brought to car shows. And my dad would drive a cool car home from work, or he had say he had his C5 Corvette, and he'd say he's going to do the turbo, and basically what that is give me 50% throttle for 3 seconds. Looking back at it now and what he's saying that was, but when I was a kid, that was like, holy cow, we're going
Yeah.
warp speed. So anyways, getting sidetracked here, but what I do is marketing for different automotive businesses, and depending on
Yeah.
which business it is, depends on what I do, from consulting and branding and direction, all the way down to simply me making a post, social media. So
For sure.
yeah,
What do you think was that motivation? Because all of us who want to get involved in the car scene or in the car community or in the automotive industry in particular, there's always like a niche about it. Whether you want to go ahead and be in the engineering side, whether you want to be a driver, whether it's the sales of it. What do you think was it that struck a chord and said, "Oh, I want to go ahead and do the marketing aspect of it"? Was it the fact that you had already, the slight background with it, where you were helping out with social media pages, or what was it before that you said, "Oh, that's exactly where my heart wants to go"? Because like that's it's not just tough, but it is an interesting thing where I think we're seeing it blow up more now. But back in the day, especially from the smaller standpoint, it's like, well, what exactly do I do when it comes to this? You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, that's a loaded question, and I know I'm going to get sidetracked, but
It's what we're here for, dog. It's all good.
I my goal, has never been to be, anything really in the automotive world. My goal, I'm still actually in college. I have 2 classes left. I've been there for 11 years now. It's time for me to be done. But I wanted to get out and I wanted to do commercial real estate, and I've always been passionate about cars and stuff like that. Anything automotive, whether it's off-road or hot rods or any kind of racing or super hyper cars. Um, a poster on my wall as a kid was Lamborghini Diablo with a bunch of flames. I actually tried to find the poster not too long ago, and I found it. I haven't bought it because I remember it so vividly in my mind. Um, but there was never any single motivation for me to get into this. It was more I was working, I was busy, I was doing 60 plus hours, sometimes 80-hour weeks, which anybody that's done that knows that when you do a few of those in a row for, months on end,
Yep.
it gets draining, and you really don't have any other free time space, while you're also still maintaining, family relationships and, personal relationships and friendships, and still trying to maintain some kind of health and your home life. Um, that gets old. So one of my outlets, even maybe when I'm at work, on the restroom or something, is social media. And my dad used to have a car dealership that would sell European and some American like muscle cars like Z06s, Vipers, 4GT. But he mainly had like a lot of high-end European cars, all pre-owned, but like M3s, M5s, M6s, E63s, C63s, anything Mercedes, SL65s, CL65s, all that type of, high-end European stuff, Porsches, Range Rovers, uh, nothing too insane. Every once in a while there'd be like an F430 or a 360 in there. And when he had that business, that was one of my first jobs. It was my second job. My first job was Big Spoon Yogurt. I was an ice cream guy. I got fired because I stayed too long cleaning. A little OCD. My girlfriend will tell you all about that.
Oh,
But
that's hilarious.
yeah, my second job was at my dad's dealership, and I was kind of, the lot bitch, for lack of better words. And and I would take phone calls and do reception stuff, and I asked if I could do sales, and they let me do sales, and then I was beating some of the sales guys there, even when I was part time, they were full time. Um, and it's not easy working for family, but I started an Instagram page, and that was back in like 2013, 2012. Um, and
How old
even
would you have
before,
been?
what was that?
How old would you have been during that time? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, I was probably like 18.
Okay. So
18.
you were a young dude. You were a
Yeah.
young dude, like barely out of high school and stuff like that. And you're smoking these dudes at your dad's dealership.
Yes.
On top of that, starting to go ahead and do the marketing. Like that's what's up. That's big dick energy. Like
Yeah. I
genuinely.
mean, again, another thing my girlfriend could tell you about. Anyways, like my yeah, I just, I knew that this Instagram thing was there, and we had cool cars around, and I wanted to share it. This was before Instagram even had videos. There was
Mhm.
no messaging, there was no stories. It was just make a post, everything's chronological feed, a bunch of people like it, and it just blows up somehow. And the page did pretty good. It got, I don't know, I think it got up to like 10,000 followers or something like
That's
that.
pretty good back in the day, dude.
It's still alive. Somebody can go find it if they want to, but it was EU Motorsports. And if you scroll down the bottom, you can kind of see what I was doing. But yeah, that's where it started, and that's where I figured it out. And I made a Facebook page and stuff. And my dad didn't believe in it. He says you're not going to sell any cars doing that. And it's like, okay, now if you look at today, there's guys that sell hypercars, multi-million dollar cars, and pretty much their only form of advertising or how people know them is through Instagram. I haven't really rubbed that in my dad's face yet. I should,
I
but
think
I
I
think
found the Instagram page, by the way. It's
yeah,
EU Motorsports
yeah.
offering local and out of state customers highest quality of service and
He sold the
inventory at
business,
competitive
so
pricing.
somebody took over it. So,
Yeah,
and then they,
20.
redid the page. But if you scroll down far enough, you can tell where the switch is and be like, okay, this was Ollie.
Well, I see a baby Stig in 2013. That's
Yeah,
incredible. Yeah, I can definitely see. Yeah, that's
you can tell
awesome,
the
dude.
difference there. So anyways, that was my first experiment with,
Yeah.
social media and marketing and learning the ropes there. And ever since then, I kind of, I always had some sort of page and whatnot. And really in like 2016, I joined forces with this guy that I worked with at the Mercedes dealer, and we did a Mercedes page. And then, because of that, trying to make, the following into something tangible, because he was selling stickers, right? It's like you have a six-figure following, and or we built it to six-figure following, and it's like all we're going to do is stickers, like, and
Mhm.
maybe hoodies. Why don't we like meet these people? Why don't we do something cool? And so that's what we did. And like my first ever meet that I put on with it was like 600 cars, and like 200 showed up to go on this rally that I'd been advertising. There was like
Nice.
2,500 that responded to the Facebook event. It was like overwhelming. And it was like, oh shit, this is too big. I can't control 200 people on the road. So I just got together my group of friends, people I knew and that I was talking to, and said, okay, here's the plan. Here's where we're going. And then after I left, then I just kind of posted it on the story for other people to follow. So, and it was maybe a little bit disorganized, but obviously it was my first event. And, people told me after the fact, they're like, well, we came to go on a drive, and we didn't really get a route, but we went on a drive anyways, and we had fun. And, we got a little group together, and people just kind of all headed up that direction and all took a different way. And so that was cool. And after that, people kept asking me, when's the next? When's the next? And it just kept going from there. And anyways, see, I told you I was going to get sidetracked. I
That
just,
was my bad.
just don't know. But yeah, as far as motivation, what I want to do, I want to be, a Formula One driver, right? Don't we all? But, maybe some guys would say no, NASCAR is better. But that's more unrealistic at this point in my life. There's still a chance. Um, but
Slightly.
I just, and I was reminded of it from my friend, at Car Week, using the terminology adrenaline dump when talking about spotting a cool car. And it's like, yeah, I still get that high a little bit. This past Car Week, I was so stressed and working and just overwhelmed. I'm going to reel it back a little bit this next Car Week, but like I still get that high. It takes a higher dosage, right? You
Yeah.
got to be something special to get it, but I still get that high. And
Yeah.
that's what we chase. We're all
for
just
sure.
junkies. We're all just car
Dude,
junkies.
I I was so close to going to Car Week this year. It would have been my first time ever. So I
To
still
get
did not get
accomplished.
it. I keep saying that. I've said it now for 3 consecutive years, but next year, God willing, 2025 will be the year that I go
God
to Car
willing, you're
Week.
making it happen. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But I did follow it very closely on social media. A lot of my friends were over there. A lot of my friends were sending me videos, and a lot of my friends were sending me pictures and whatnot. And I, last year was good. Last year was all right. This year, though, and I don't know what it was, but from the jump, Ollie, I saw and I was like, "There's something in the air, man. There was something in the air, and I just couldn't describe it." And you know, as the days went on, I was like, yo, this is absolute utter insanity. Like insanity. And it wasn't just the quail having the stuff that they had, and it wasn't just Pebble, and it wasn't just all these other. It was just the atmosphere that I could go ahead and see from the Instagram stories, the Instagram posts, your stories, and everything that you were up to, and stuff like that, and all of our friends were up to. I was just like, talk about FOMO. Like the FOMO was hard this year, unlike the last just a while. And I don't know what it was, but you talk about like the highs it's you struggle to get the highs now because you're so heavily invested, but you still did get some highs. So like what did you feel like when you were at Car Week? Was it that like again, I'm from the outside, your boots on the ground. What was your overall like, huh? What's going on here?
Yeah. Well, first of all, so you're feeling that through a phone. Imagine
Yeah.
being right. It's the best week of the year for me. This was I believe it was my 15th year. I've been going since 2010.
Yeah.
And over the years, my first year, my parents took me and then I bumped into some friend that I was at middle school with, and his dad talked to my mom, and I don't remember how it came together, but they invited me to go with them in the future years, and I spent like the next 8, 9 car weeks going with them, and he'd been going every year since he was a kid, and he's raising one of my friends, and his dad, had been going since basically the beginning. I don't know if it was the first or the second or whatever, and my friend's dad had only missed one when like one of his three sons were born. So that guy's a total car nut. His name's Mike Clark, and he had some cool cars. He was in the Iso Bizzarini Owners Club, and so he just the whole time he was at Car Week was just teaching me everything. None of his
Yeah.
kids were really into cars. None of his three sons were really into cars. So they all kind of joked that I'm the son he never had. And he would just constantly rattle off facts. And because I was young and interested, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps right now, but like I would just absorb it, right?
Mhm.
And I still spit some of those facts out to, the people around me. That I bring my mom to Car Week now. It's funny. She brought me to my first. Now she comes and tags along at my Car Week ventures. Um, but even the COVID car week, 2020, all the events were canceled. I still went, and I slept in my truck for a night. And, yeah, anyways, um, leading up to this year, and, for the past few years, I do these group chats
Mhm.
because it really, you know, I need something to look forward to in life, no matter what time of year it is.
Yeah.
Uh, and car week is something we all look forward to, even if you're not there, you get excited because the new Lamborghini is coming out and I'm going to see it, the new or whatever it is, the new kind of thing, the new Bugatti, the new Pagani, the new this. I'm going to watch the live drop, or I'm going to see this, and then we all share it and whatnot. So even the people that aren't there, car week is something to look forward to.
Mhm.
And somebody at one point, maybe 6 years ago or more, put me in some kind of group chat and told me about like, hey, go check this out over here. This car's parked over here. And since been going to car week since I was a kid, I wouldn't go out and really spot at night. Like my friend and I, who wasn't that into cars, we literally would go to the movies in Monterey at night. But now it's like I look back to that, it's like I was missing out on so much. Uh, so the vibes for car week for me, the experience, how it feels is just like, honestly, it's me being a kid again. And no matter how much, like this year, I had my mom, I had my girlfriend, I was managing like 8, 9 cars. working for a couple different events and had clients at other events. Every event I went to, I had clients. So I just had a lot of pressure and stress and anxiety about everything I was doing all year long, and being everybody's GD on top of it, like
Yeah.
just taking care of a bunch of drunk people while I have that all going on. Um, which, I love them all, right? And
Yeah.
I'll always do it. And I don't really drink, so that's just the role I fall into, and I wouldn't have it any other way, maybe. Um, but I still, like, I would drop my mom off at my girlfriend off or whatever, and I'd hit up some of the boys and be like, "Yo, you want to go whip around for a few hours or an hour, or let's go check this out or whatever." And that's just still like what we chase and what we feel and what we love and what gets us going.
Yeah.
So I start those car week group chats so that we all have something to look forward to. And usually I start at like a month and a half out, or a month or so out. This year I was a little bit late, but still everybody gets amped up. Everybody gets connected with people that they would have never been connected with. There's kind of an organization to it, based on seniority and years and what type of stuff you do in the car world. Um, but also there's just a mixture of everything
Yeah.
too. So, uh, and people seem to love those. I loved it when I first did it, or when I first got put into one, and I saw how valuable it is to everybody. So I continue to do that. And this year I had probably around 520 to 530 people between 13 different group chats. So that's like an average of somewhere around 40 per each group chat, 42 or something like that. And they meet them at different events, see them out on the road, whatever, and they make lifelong bonds. And I've seen it from some of these group chats. People become friends from it because of me and putting this together, and I'm connecting the car world, and it's just awesome. And business happens, and uh spots are found, and tickets are sold, and rooms are filled, and all that. So again, here we go getting sidetracked, but motivation for this, and how it feels. It's not really like anything else. Uh it's all my friends from all around the world. This is why you got to come, man, because you got a lot
Yeah.
of friends there. All my friends from all around the world, from Europe, from South America, from Asia, from all over the nation, Canada, Mexico. They're all there at the same time, having fun, beautiful setting,
Partying.
great weather, right? Cool stuff all around us, and
Yeah.
we're all sharing that experience together. And that's something that you don't really get to do in many communities ever. And in the automotive community, there's only a couple opportunities,
Mhm.
and maybe a year to do that, right? And
100%.
you know, I went this year, and so did this guy, but next year he might not be there. I'll be there, right? But maybe that guy won't be there, or that guy that met that guy won't be there. So it's just
Right.
a lot of once in a lifetime opportunity meetings, and
True.
speaking with people who work for the companies and design the cars and develop them. I had Alex Alexiev. He's principal designer at McLaren Automotive. He was my room
Yes.
this year, and we're friends, and we have been for years now. But I just learned some stuff about cars with him, and that's part of where the adrenaline came in for me. Is like this little bit of learning, just some of the words he used and the terms, and oh no, on that car we did this, and it's like, this is sick, right? This is
Yeah.
the behind the scenes stuff that you don't get by going to a car show.
Yep.
This is just by living Car Week.
Yep.
Uh, so yeah, I don't know if I answered your question or not, but
No, no, dude, you
just
took me
ramble
on
on
a
Car Week.
no, you took me on the ride, and I'm just strapped in right now, honestly, because I'm just happy. Like, honestly, like
I like to talk about cars and
we
business.
all do. No, and that's the thing, like, and that's why I feel that if you haven't experienced car week, and this is more me talking to myself, this is motivational speaking right here, Ollie, is like, I need to go ahead and do it so I can experience that for myself, because I see everyone else doing it. And like, I can do it to a smaller extent with the podcast of being able to go ahead and connect with so many people all over, right? Like, and then getting a chance to go ahead and bring that to life at Car Week. gosh, dude, that's the dream right there.
Yeah.
Especially for somebody who's like me, who's an extrovert, not an introvert. Like I like meeting people and I love being able to, share stuff with them and whatnot. And like Car Week is like the home for the extrovert that I am, and I need to do it. And on top of that, being the passionate car guy that I am, or I believe myself to be, the cars that you're seeing there are literally once in a lifetime. We're seeing
Definitely.
like, well, how many G Wagon 6x6s did, because I saw everybody blowing up on those.
Yeah.
Like there was like four or five 6x6s rolling with one another, and then a G Wagon Lawn Delay on top of that, right?
Yeah, I know my buddy, he's got one and he had two and he sold one to some friends of his, but they have two 6x6s, they have the G650 long delay, and then they have another, 4x4 or two. And yeah, they roll deep. That's Team Sickness and they're sick. Team Sikhness, because they're Sikh Indians. Um, but yeah, I mean, where do you see that? Nowhere in the world, right?
Nope.
And actually, sneak peek here, where I'm having a couple of those come to Velocity Invitational, and
Oh,
they're just
dude.
going to be kind of parked out front because, and I try kind of telling the guy that runs Velocity, like, trust me, it's going to be sick. And he's
Yeah.
like, what's the point of this? What? I mean,
Yeah.
it's cool, but what? And like, dude, just people as soon
Just
as they come through the gates are gonna see it and they're gonna be like, what? And then they're
yeah.
gonna go in and they're gonna see Formula One cars and McLaren F1s and 250 GTOs and they're gonna be like,
Yeah.
this event is
Sick.
otherworldly. So
Yeah.
uh,
I remember last year, Lando Norris was there with McLaren because McLaren was celebrating their 60th anniversary, if I'm not
yeah, Velocity
mistaken.
Invitational was
That
the McLaren's 60th birthday party. Yeah.
exactly, which was
Oh yeah,
amazing
I
in
like
and
to
of
party.
itself.
That's all it
I'm
is.
telling you, and you
I'm party.
plan a goddamn good one too. And well, you know what? I'm not letting the cat out of the bag because it's actually official. I just don't know if I'll be able to make it or not. But like earlier this week, I got my email that I was, for whatever reason, they granted me media credentials for Velocity, which I was like, this is crazy. I applied and I expected to get denied, and I will take this. And it's a huge W for me for obvious reasons because I work hard and I try to make sure that I'm, that I'm legit, and I
You
don't
are
take this.
legit.
I'm trying to at least, and to see that I got the email was amazing. And so now it's just a matter of me planning to go ahead and as to whether or not I can do it. But like that grants me the motivation more so. And then I'm seeing you being like, "Yo, if you want to go to the Velocity Invitational, hit me up." Like that's all. And I'm like, "Damn, like I need to go. Like if I missed out on Car Week, I gotta try and do Velocity Invitational."
So yes, first of all, I love what you're saying because I bet you know how I got the job at Velocity Invitational. I went to their first two events, right? And
Mhm.
this year's the fifth event. I went to the first two events as a spectator. That guy who brought me to Car Week all those many years, my best friend from middle school, high school, his dad brought me to the Sonoma Festival of Speed in 2019. That was the first event. It was in May of 2019,
Gotcha.
and the next time it was at Laguna Seca, and I was going with a client of mine and one of my friends, and we all drove down together and stayed in a room together. And I applied for media, and I get into media to a lot of things. I have, like I've said, I've been running six-figure car accounts for a long time, and Velocity denied me, and I said, you know, hey, why did I get denied? I get approved to everything. Here's, my resume. Here's this. If you need any more information, if you need to talk, let me know. And they just says, well, we've closed media applications. And it's like, what? Okay, whatever. I guess they're done. And then my friend asked me, hey, are you going to that velocity thing you posted about? And I said, yeah, I am. And he says, well, I think I'm going to apply for media. I said, well, they said they're already closed, but why not apply anyways?
Mhm.
And he did, and he's like, hey, dude, I got approved. I was like,
Whoa.
what the hell? And that ticked me off. And
Sure.
I wrote a message and I didn't get a reply back. And I wrote another message on the social media to get a reply back. So then I went anyways, and I got, thanks to the luxury collection Walnut Creek. I got passes to come in as VIP. I got access to a suite. I had a photographer with me who was my friend that took a lot of awesome photos. Um, and I didn't tag them on my social media. I didn't, reach out, like tag them in any posts, nothing like that. Didn't tell anybody, hey, look, this Velocity Invitational event's so great. I posted some car stuff because that's what I do,
Right.
but they missed out on that. And I wrote them an email. The lady that I had met. Oh, I missed a big piece of this story. Sorry, it's just a
It's
while
all
ago.
good.
I met with somebody at Car Week. They were at the Bonham's Quail Lodge auction, and they had a tent in there, and the tent had this shield on it. And I said, "Hey, that looks like Sonoma Festival of Speed." And her name's Ardell. She says, "You have a good eye." Yes, it is, but we're going to be here at Laguna Seca this year. And I explained what I did, and she said, "Oh, that's awesome. We'd love to have you as media." I said, "Okay, not a problem at all. I'll apply." And she gave me her card. And then that's when I applied. I got denied, and it's like I was told that it'd be all good, right? And then it wasn't. And then I went to the event. I didn't post. And then after the fact, I wrote that lady an email. Was me being upset, but also giving feedback. It's like, I met with you. You told me to reach out. I did. I didn't get a response for a month. So I reached back out. I got denied and said it was closed. I went, I had a photographer, took amazing photos, was there, didn't promote the event. I explained the whole situation. I said that hurts me in the sense that I don't want to come to your event and I don't want to promote it. And if anybody asks about it, I have a bad story. I've got a bad taste in my mouth.
Right.
So then she said, "Well, you know what? We're actually looking for somebody, that can do what you do, and to replace basically that person that denied me that was running the social media."
Oh.
And I said, "What's up? I'm your guy.
Holla at your boy.
Hit
Let's
me up,
go.
right? Let's go." I actually was more like, "Well, we'll see if I could take you on, right?"
Sure. I have to go ahead and look at my clientele. Like, well, right now our books are a little bit heavy right now, but let me see if I can fit you in.
Exactly.
AKA, you goddamn right.
Yeah, totally. And so, I spoke with Ryan, who's the director of the event. It's pretty much, there's Jeff O'Neill. Jeff O'Neill hired Ryan to run everything.
Mhm.
And Ryan oversees everything. Uh, and I spoke with him, and he had a couple other ideas of what he wanted me to do. This Google Analytics, this, and I said, "Listen, we can outsource that. Uh, you should use me for what I'm really good at, and that's what I'll do." And there's a couple. I'll tell you what I'm really good at, what I can do, what I don't really want to do, and what I probably suck at.
Yeah.
And hire me for these things, hire somebody else for those things. And that's what he did. And here we are, 3 years later, and this will be the third event I'm working on with them. And I put together a lot of cool things thanks to the opportunity that Velocity's laid out. And but what you were saying about getting approved for media and that making you excited and you not being sure if you could go, but now you're like, I'm motivated. I need to go, right? I need
Right.
to, this is my opportunity. I've been denied media. I got denied, this year to, I'm not going to say it, but I got denied to an event at Car Week. And then all I had to do is send an email and then I'm in. But then it puts a bad taste in people's mouth. And that's one thing that I've really focused on changing about
Yeah.
that. And in any events that I participate in, is like, if there is a real cost, some of these events have a serious true cost because they can't, they're charged per head that walks through the door a few $100s by, whoever food company is catering.
Right.
That's limited, right? But in an event like Velocity Invitational, we can let people, as long as it makes sense, right? As long as you're providing value to the event
Sure.
that supersedes what, per se, a ticket cost would be. Plus, then we also give you some hospitality. You have, dedicated area, some refreshments, etc. And then there's liability that we take on by you guys being media. Then there's photo vests. And there's serious liability. So it's like you guys have to provide value, true. but don't deny somebody that provides value just because they aren't as many followers as this guy
Sure.
or aren't working for this business. It's like let's try and bring in as many as we can. So thank you for bringing that up. I love the fact that you said that because I never really had an opportunity to speak on it, but it's besides in closed Zooms with the people that work on these things.
I'm
Um,
so happy that you appreciate that, because here's the thing, man, and I mean this, I mean this as God honest as I do. I see you as the type of person who has influence within the car scene, within the car community and whatnot, and you are walking so people like that are small like myself can run. So had you not gone ahead and had those conversations with Ardell, had you not gone ahead and sent those emails stating this is the feedback, had you not gone ahead and shown up and then gone ahead and had your boy take all these great pictures, and you know the fact that you're just going to keep it to yourself and not market it because the way that you were treated and whatnot, if it wasn't for you doing those things, a person like me who we're a very small outlet, that, a small podcast. And yeah, we've had a little bit of success here and there with yourself being on here and a few others in the car community that I hold to a very high regard. If it wasn't for people like you, I'm not getting approved for that. And I'm not going ahead and being viewed as some type of quote unquote
you
value.
would because you're a hard worker and you'd eventually get there. But my goal is to help people get there sooner, right?
And that's what it's
Because I
like.
realize the smaller, accounts, who cares, who's talented, who's connected, right? And really that's what we want.
Yeah.
Because like for an example, my social media, my Autohofffs page to be specific, is a private page. If I
Right.
was public, I'm sure I could post reels and go viral, like I did on all the big car pages when I ran those. But I've done
Mind
that.
you, it's at 37K and still private. Respect.
Yeah.
37K and still private. Like, that's what's up, bro. I don't mean to go ahead and blow smoke up your ass. I'm just being honest. I follow it 37K. Like, that's legit. And that's a legit 37K
Yeah.
and continuously growing and everything around it. So I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just want to
Oh
make sure
yeah.
people know this so that way they can follow too. Go ahead.
Good. I don't think I came out. Thank you. But I had the big pages, right?
Mhm.
It's like when you hear those stories, not saying I'm a rich guy, but you hear the stories that are like these guys are all well, at the end of the day, what do you got? Right? You have all these big followers, but it's only what you do with it.
Right.
Right. And when I had this partner on this supercar page, and we'd always post these crappy AI looking render videos. And it's like, this is clearly fake, and nobody believes it besides 13-year-olds or old guys that don't get it. You're not fooling anybody in the car world.
Right.
And he's like, but it gets views. It's like, but it's the wrong views.
Right.
So it was, this debate that I always had. But anyways, I had the large pages. I have so much more interaction, and the quality of the followers on my page are so high. It honestly blows my mind when I go through my story views, or the people who will message or the people who follow me. It's like I gotta not say what I say all the time because there's some serious people watching, right?
Yeah. 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 For sure.
But at the end of the day, I'm also going to be me,
Yeah.
and they need to learn, right? And
Yeah.
they only know by people being true and genuine and themselves. So that's part of why I'm private. That's one of the reasons. But see, I already sidetracking. I don't even know what you asked. But yeah, it's just I know I can recognize quality of work, quality of followers, and people's place in the community. It doesn't matter. You don't need 100,000 followers to get approved for media. If you
Right.
have 200 McLaren P1 owners on your Instagram, right? And you only have 300 followers or whatever, well, guess what? Like
They want those 200
you reach a
McLaren P1 owners.
demographic that we want to reach, and
Right.
that's the ultimate goal, right? Is to reach the right people. If
Mhm.
you're advertising and somebody's got 1 million followers, but 90% of their following is in Bangladesh, well, we don't have any partners or anybody that brings cars from Bangladesh. Like it's not going to help us much.
Right.
Uh, and anyways, that's a long story that because I do it for work and I've done it for over a decade now, like I
Yeah.
can continue to talk on all day social media and these people. You know, I'll leave the social media thing with this. Most people hire somebody that's young. It's mostly older people hiring somebody that's young that they think knows how to do it. But what you really got to ask is, has that person that you're trusting to build your business and put your brand out into the world, have they ever built anything on their own?
Right.
You right now, this Tormenting Tarmac, you're building something on your own, right? You're building a brand, you're curating it. What have these other people done? Okay, they started a craft page with 200 followers or whatever, right?
Right.
But they didn't really follow through with it. They didn't really curate a brand. They didn't build anything. It's like with me, why I feel so confident in taking on any of the clients I do and just like telling people like, just let me handle it. I know what I'm doing. Uh, is because I've done it firsthand
Right.
many times across many different cases, across many different audiences, many different niches, I'm now, yeah, in this more supercar, classic car, high dollar car space, but I've also done, off-road. I have an off-road page. I don't maintain it that much anymore, but I've had a few off-road clients. I had a restaurant chain. I've had actually a couple restaurants. I've had, an appraisal company, mortgage company, realtors. I've had gun part manufacturers, or accessories. Anyway, so I've had all this different stuff, and I'm able to see audiences in different sizes and different areas of the world, different quality of followers and stuff like that. So that's how you're able to, really tell. And I'm able to see, okay, this guy's got 2,000 followers, but it is legit and specific to this area where we're having this event, and is 100% our demographic. Like maybe this guy can provide, that general admission ticket for the weekend plus hospitality plus liability. It makes sense for us to make this business decision to let him in.
Right.
Anyways, okay, in rant.
No, dude, but that's such a good rant though. And honestly, I think it's more than just providing, the word that kept on popping into my head as you were discussing all that, like, was market value, but I don't even think that that's even the right word to go ahead and use. I think it's more so
But providing value.
providing of the value itself
Yes.
is that's the whole main goal. And you
All
are
it is.
providing that,
All it's ever been.
that's all it's ever been. Your followers know that you're providing the value. Your business partners and everybody who rolls with you that isn't trusting you with like, yo, I want you to go ahead and manage my cars when we go up the car week. I want you to go ahead and manage this for me. I want you, Velocity wanting you to go ahead and be like spokesperson, the official. Like I feel like you're not the unofficial spokesperson. I feel like you are the official spokesperson for this event, and that's something that
Nah, but
like
I
yeah,
rise to the occasion, and I believe in it myself, and I'm excited to be a part of it. So,
right,
I speak about it,
100%.
but the owner of the event is definitely the official spokesperson.
No, for sure, and respect to them, and
Yeah.
and I can't stress enough like how much that email meant. And again, it's now it's a matter of like, yo, can we swing this? Got to figure out like lodging, blah blah. And that's a whole different story for a whole different day. So by the time that this drops, I either went to Velocity or I didn't go to Velocity, and I'm praying to God I can go to Velocity. That's not the point. The point is, I am very excited to go ahead and be to see something like that. Like that made my week. I was like, oh my God, Velocity said yes. Like, let's fucking go. Like it was very, very, very cool. And during a time frame that I feel like this podcast has had its biggest amount of growth in the entire 3 year trajectory. And I'm not saying that to go ahead and pat myself on the back or go ahead and blow smoke up my own ass. I'm just very proud of the things that we're doing here. And it's nice to go ahead and hear the words that you said to me, because it means a lot, because I do bust my ass
Yeah.
like in a massive way. And anybody who rocks with me or who's been a listener or has been a guest or is just a friend from this, they've seen it and they've seen the growth and they saw it from literally zero up until where we are now. And that's a really nice thing for you to even notice that. So I'm very grateful
Of
to
course.
you, man. I really appreciate that. Let's talk some cars though, bro, because like you hang around with some heavy hitters, bro. Like that's just, yeah, I
Well,
don't
it
even know
goes
how to
back
explain it.
to, providing value. And that's what I
Yeah,
did when I hosted my first car meet, is like, hey, we got these people. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to organize this event. And even when it went into my next supercar drives, like making them breakfast, starting at, my mom and dad's house when I was in my, early mid 20s or whatever, because it's a nicer place.
Yeah.
Uh, and, you know, and planning a route and getting them discounts on lunch and bringing people together. That's like a value that like they made lifelong friendships, or so far at least it's been lifelong for the past 6 7 years, and they're probably going to be friends longer. And even for me too, making some of
Yeah.
these friendships, um, and we all grow together.
Right.
Some guys get so caught up in the supercar hypercars that they won't have anything at their events. At my drives, like if you were cool and you had a C63, fuck it, you're in, or an M3, whatever. Those guys have grown, right? The guy that had a C63, now he's got a wide body Urus and a 720 all tuned up, right? And then one of the guys that had a C63, he also had a 720 and a GT3 RS and is buying a cup car and is all this stuff. And it's like you just ride with good people and
Sure.
surround yourself with that. And ultimately, when it comes to cars, that's what it's all about, is the people
100%.
behind it. And finding real car enthusiasts. You can see directly through the hypercar owner that doesn't know anything and doesn't care to drive the car to its limits and more just wants to be stroked. uh,
Yes.
People don't like those people, and those people get found out real quick. And yeah, you can constantly get stroked by somebody by throwing money at them, but that's not fulfilling. At the end of the day, they're sad. So you know uh, that's what it is. And it's
I
providing
agree.
value. And same thing, if you're on the media side, providing value. If you're
Yeah.
hosting events, right? And like for Velocity Invitational, what's the value we provide, to some of these people. And in recruiting some really special cars, maybe I'm failing a little bit in some areas, but I'm having to have a conversation with people that, have never been to our event. It's like I'm putting together a 4GT display. And some of these people are like, yeah, well, it's not going to be ready, or I just don't feel like transporting it. Oh, I can only be there for 2 days, not the three. It's like the last time we did, if it was me and my 4GT, I would hop on the opportunity because I know how significant it is. The last time we did a 4GT display, well, first of all, Ford unveiled their GT Mark IV with us last year.
Right.
So we're the right place for GTs. But 2 years ago, 20, or I guess 2 events ago, 3 years ago, at our 2021 event, we had six of the seven 2016 Ford GT Le Mans cars. We had a GT40 because you just throw that in when you have all those cars. We
Mm.
had a GT Mark II. That way, I'll get to this in a second. Then we had one of the test mules. So it's like you have seven of the 2016 Le Mans, or six of the seven 2016 Le Mans cars. That's never going to happen again, like probably ever.
Right.
And then we had CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, come out, and Henry Ford III heard how cool this was, how cool this event was, and on Sunday said, "Scramble the Jets, we're going." And he pulled up in Monterey, and he shows up, and CEO Jim Farley is driving Henry Ford III around in a GT Mark II, while the rest of the race car drivers, some of them that actually drove at Le Mans and in other places like Daytona or whatever, Sebring, are driving the cars that they
Yeah.
were driving. And it's like, that's the last time we did a 4GT display. You don't want to be a part of this year's? Like, maybe
Right.
it won't be that, legendary, but it's like, it's going to be good,
Sure.
and it's a special, special place. Like, nobody gets to bring their car into the paddock at Velocity Invitational unless they are invited. That's
Right.
it. Yeah, we get apply applications on the website. We get this. It's like, I'm reaching out to you. This is probably a once in a decade opportunity for your car, right?
Right.
Or once in every 5 years, unless you're my close home, right? Then,
Yeah.
then I'll try and get you in. But or try and formulate something around, the cars, that my close friends have. But anyways, it's providing value. And if you're able to
Mhm.
provide value to people, it's not that you do it so that people feel indebted, but you know, they say, hey, this guy's not trying to take from me. Like
Right.
everybody else is that, it approaches any kind of supercar owner or hypercar owner. What they want is, hey, can you help me? Hey, can you give me something? Hey, can I have this? Hey, can this? Hey. Pulling at their shirt. It's
Yep.
like, stop. And then there's some people that get it, but just the opportunities down the line where like I got message today, hey, can I come detail your cars for free? It's like, none of these are my cars. I got a Jeep and a Raptor, right? It's like
Yeah.
they're not, they're not
By the way,
gonna.
there's nothing wrong with a Jeep and a Raptor. Let me tell you that
Oh, no,
right
not at
now,
all.
brother.
No, I love, yeah, I love them. I love my pieces of shit. But what they're thinking is that I own these exotics and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and they're trying to provide value, but really what I can see through is you're trying to use our cars or my friends' cars or whatever as a marketing tool for your business.
Yeah.
So what's the value outside of that, right? What does this actually do? We already have people that we trust and whatnot and have, long-standing relationships with. So just being unique on how to find value because there's too many people trying to take.
Right.
Okay, sorry for
No, it's okay, but you're so right, and that's you know, as I continue to go ahead and go deeper into the game, right? I've noticed the same thing too, and you got to be real careful. You got to be real careful with who you interact with and whatnot, and you also got to go ahead and be really careful with how you present yourself. On top of that, because you do not want to be viewed as that person who's take, and not giving. I try not to present myself that like that in any way, shape, or form because I'm not trying to go ahead and do that. I'm actually trying to go ahead and tell the stories, like you talked about earlier in the conversation, like you getting a chance to go ahead and share this in this forum right here is really important to you because you usually only get a chance to go ahead and have it on a regular Zoom meeting where one or two people are listening, where now you get the opportunity for people to go ahead and hear, this is what's going on in the background. This is why this is the way that it is. And like, that's cool. And so I hope that that's the value. Again, tonight's word of the day is value, is that the value that I'm providing, the value you absolutely provide to so many people, to so many businesses, to so many car enthusiasts on top of that, dude. Like, that is so massive. And, you know, I'm, it's hard, man. It's really hard to go because there's, we live in a world where there's a lot of scammers out there, dog. Like
yeah,
in a variety of different ways, right?
it's scammed. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And the last thing is you want to go ahead and be looked at as like, oh, he's just a scammer. He's just there to go ahead and for the clicks. He's just there for the views. He's just there for the likes. He's just there for the listens. It's like, no, bro, that's not it at all. You
Yeah.
know,
And that's
it's
actually
really
been
hard.
a hard part about what I do and why, I'm okay to stay private is because now that I'm around a lot of these cool cars and behind the scenes, I don't want my friends and, in some cases, some of these people are clients or people that I work with or whatever, to think that I'm that guy, you know, using this content to try and build a wealth
Right.
from, right? Because ultimately that's what it is, right? The content is building a business. Sometimes it can be viewed as, providing value, like something like this, I believe provides value to people hearing and learning. Um, but if you look at, general YouTube stuff,
Yeah.
it's hard for me to be the guy that vlogs because I feel I will take from people and I don't want to be the guy that takes. And some people don't have a problem being the guy that takes.
Right.
And then, some of them blow up and then they're providing value back, right? But that's reversed. Me, I try to provide value and then, sometimes it comes back. It's
Right.
not why I do it. But the other way is they're taking,
Sure.
and because they took, then ultimately it comes back. I don't know. The
Yeah.
universe has a way of evening itself out, but uh,
Well, I think what's really important, and this just came to me, when it comes to giving and taking, at the end of the day, and I think you and I have probably the same mentality. It's a real big ass table.
yeah,
We can all eat. People
yep,
don't have to go ahead and take these large quantities and then leave small bits and pieces for you and I. Like, if we got a turkey the size of this bedroom here, right, that I'm in right now, all of us should be able to go ahead and eat off said turkey. There's no reason why, if you are going to go ahead and take, it's cool to give back, man. Like, it is what it is. It depends on the mentality of the creator.
yep.
Or I don't like to use the word influencer. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but you get what I'm saying. And thankfully, I think
I don't like the
some of
word
them do.
creator's a better word.
I think creator is a better word. I agree.
We do influence, you know.
We do have some influence. I think you have a lot more influence than a lot of other people do and whatnot. But we are creating some type of once more value to them and whatnot. And I wanted to ask you a quick question though, because this you posted up a story the other day and it made me laugh. And I've been dying to ask you about it. You were and let me know if I can ask this or not. But you were rolling around in the lifted 3500 dually the other day.
Yeah,
Uh,
I have been for the
as
past week and a half.
Yeah, that thing is
It's
it's
like
got at least
on
about a six
40s
or
with
seven inch. Yeah, it's
it's like
got
a
a big
2 inch
lift on
lift
it.
on 40s. Yeah.
Yeah, and dualies themselves are already pretty big as is, right? And we live
You
in
throw
a
on, it's got the dually tires are 14 and a half inch wide too. So
yes,
you're
they are.
29
Yes, they are.
inches of tire instead of,
Yeah. And we live in a part of the country where, you and I live both on the West Coast. You're out in California. I'm in Arizona. We live in one of the more spread out sections of the country and whatnot. As opposed to, you go to the Northeast Coast, everything is a little bit more cramped and whatever. But, you know, you you pulled up to this parking spot where you were, and I remember you saying it's like, let's see how long it takes before I get some type of warning. And you walked us around. You walked us around the parking spot. The tires were just on the line, were on the line, but not passing over the line. So you were within your
I was
spot.
perfect.
You were perfect, especially considering the size of the vehicle. And what made me laugh, bro, was not the one warning, it was two warnings. And I was just like, it made me laugh because I was like, how the hell are you going to give two
Well, one was
warnings?
license plate.
Oh,
One
one
was
was the
no
like,
front plate. Yeah.
oh,
But
dude.
it was like, really? Are you serious? No, I
I
don't.
do for the life of me, here in Arizona, you don't have to have a front plate. You just need a back plate. Like I've told people, so many people out here
That was a
that
bullshit ticket
it's a
because I
BS
drive my
ticket.
Raptor to that same school all the time and I don't have a front plate and I never got that. It just pissed somebody off and they said, I'm gonna get this guy. Yeah, ridiculous.
It
There
just
was
makes
there
no
was
sense.
somebody shared this post with me. This was, by the way, at my college campus,
Mm-hmm.
Sacramento State University, that there was a post somebody made talking about how they wanted to key big trucks for taking up too much of the parking space. It's like, come on, like you want to destruct somebody's property and talk about it online because somebody has a big truck. I mean, I get that ticks some people off, the Tesla Prius people, Yaris people, whatever. But like, I mean, like that Denali, first of all, is sick.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Cool.
it
It
is.
doesn't actually get driven that much. The reason it's being driven is because it needed to pass smog. So it needed to drive cycle it after some repairs. But like my Raptor, it's kind of purpose built, it's wide body, whatever.
What
It's
year is your
cool.
Raptor? Is it a first gen or a second gen with the V6?
It's first gen with the
First
V8.
gen. So it's the
I'm a
6.2
car
V8.
enthusiast, man.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I know Dylan
I
had a couple V6. I'm saying Dylan because maybe he's gonna listen to it.
Oh,
But he
he'll
had
definitely listen
V6
to this.
Raptors. But
Yeah. I gave him
yeah.
crap for getting rid of the TRX. He should, and I'm the Dill. If you're listening to this
Oh
now,
yeah.
I love you. You should have kept the TRX.
He should have, yes,
He should
but
have.
he
Yeah,
probably got 1 mile a gallon. So
for sure. Yeah, he definitely was doing like 8 to the gallon. And it was
I
hilarious.
I get like, yeah, I get like 10.
Yeah, but
Not
it's
that,
it's hysterical
but my other
how
car gets like 8, so I guess it's better than that.
what you said it's a Jeep, right?
It's a Jeep, but it's got a V8 swap, and it's all
Okay.
there's
Yeah.
nothing stock on it actually. Like realistically, I can say, well, the windshield frame, but it's been modified. The tub, no, the tub's completely, modified. The dash, but it's been modified. So it's like
Right.
there's nothing stock on.
For a guy who's so heavily invested in the supercar, hypercar world, the fact that you're you know, daily is a first gen V8 Raptor, and then your other off roading vehicle
I'm
is
broke.
yeah,
No.
right. But it's what do you think it is that you are so heavily involved with things that go fast, and then but then you come back, and then what you enjoy as much as anything else is crawling and things
It's
that
an
are
easy
big.
answer. I got pulled over one time in my 335, and
Okay.
I was driving like a jackass, and the cop says, get out of the car from his car, on the PA system, and
Yeah.
I get out, right, and then he comes up to me and tells me to go on the sidewalk or go on the sidewalk. He's like, "Do you know what I caught you at?" And he's like, "I couldn't even keep up with you, but you ran this stop sign." I saw, and then he's like, "I'm going to impound your car. I'm going to arrest you, and your car's going to sit in an impound lot for 30 days. You're going to have to pay the fees on it. You're going to have to do all this." And then I was like, it's like, "Ooh, like this fucking sucks."
Yeah.
Uh, and I had my lady at the time was in the passenger seat, and and then he says, "Okay, I think I scared you enough. He says, I'm gonna let you go, but don't you ever drive like that again in my city." He says, "I believe in you, and I believe you can turn around. Don't you ever try." He says, "Normally I'm on a bike, and you wouldn't be able to get away." He says, "But today I happen to be in my cruiser." Anyways, so after that, that Beamer I took out shooting pretty soon after, and I hit some black ice going like 10 miles an hour,
Yeah.
maybe 15 on a road, and the Beamer just slid, and it kind of just slid off the road and went over into a little bit of a ditch, and what honestly seemed like 4 or 5 grand of damage totaled the car. And after that, I was like, all right, I need to go slow. And
Yeah. Slow and clearance.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that part yet, but yeah. Um, anyways, and every time I went out to go buy a car, it's always like, I leave thinking I'm going to be economical. And when I went and bought that 335, this was an F30 335. It was like 2015, and the car was a 2013,
Yeah.
and or maybe it was 2016. Anyways, and I'm like, okay, uh, I'm gonna go get a Civic. That's literally the morning that I bought that car. I went out to go get a Civic, and so I go to the dealer, and then I'm like, I just can't do a Civic. I just don't want to do it. And then I end up at the Volkswagen dealership, and I'm looking at a Golf, and it's like, all right, I can maybe get a GTI. Okay, yeah, let's. GTI is cool. GTI is cool. Let me drive this, and then it's like, well, maybe I'll get an R, and I call my dad who has the dealership, and he's like, no, I got the car for you. And then I go down. He's like, just come down and drive it. And I drive it. And I'm like, I have my buddy with me. And we both look at each other and we're like, oh, fuck yeah. This is
Yeah.
it. But then, then, shortly after, there I am. And then it's like, great. Okay. So I started with a Civic, and now I have a 300 horsepower, 300 foot-pound torque, you know, BMW with a sport package. Like,
Yeah.
I just can't. So, when I wanted a truck, I was actually going out, and I think I was looking at something more economical. And I was actually, I guess not more than economical, but I was looking at a sedan. I was looking at a 204 C63 or an E92 M3. And every time I thought about the E92 M3, like I love it. I have this one specific one that I was chasing, and I actually found like the guy, and he was selling it again. I was like, oh, I love this car. It just had the in performance steering wheel, like in performance, everything was super clean, nice exhaust, always kept perfect, like perfect spec for me. Um, Single hump, Beamer guys know what that is. And and um and I just can't because it doesn't have enough torque. It's like just too
Yeah.
high of a revving motor. And then I was okay, I'll get a C63, and then I consulted my mechanic friend that has been working on all of our European cars for the past 15 plus years. And he's like, it's freaking phenomenal. I love the car. It just has too many major problems. Like
Sure.
too many, and I can go through them all, but anyways, anybody that knows knows. And so I just kept looking around, and ever since the first gen Raptor came out, I've loved it, and I wanted
Right.
it, and I wanted it so much that I knew I'd have one day. And somehow I just came across the right one. It was, higher mileage, but it was at a Ford dealer, and normally you don't see these kind of cars at Ford dealers with that many miles, at least.
Mhm.
And I just said, fuck it. Like, and I talked to the guy at the dealer. It was one guy. He was a sales manager, the salesperson, the everything. It was just one guy that did all the sales and one guy that did all the finance. And because it's a small town, Harold, or I think it was Harold Ford in Oakdale, California. And and mainly they do farm vehicles fleet. And he says, yeah, this guy is a local farmer. 2010, when the Raptor came out, him and his brother got matching ones. 2014, they both traded them in, got new matching ones, and then they just traded theirs in at that point in time to both get Gen 2s. And
Right.
so that's why that one was still there. It's like, this is, yeah. Anyways, And so I've had that now for just over 5 years. I have a lot of sponsors on that build. BF Goodrich, Raceline, Wheels, ADV Fiberglass, RPG Off Road, Baja Designs, and Pro Eagle and Factor 55 Warren. Anyways,
Shout out
and
to them all.
yes, yeah, had to because I
Yeah,
don't get many opportunities to do that.
for sure, brother.
Besides with Instagram.
Hey man, you've got the sponsorships. Let's freaking go. I'm all about it, son.
Yeah, and like I could partner. I had offers to partner with crappier brands in my
Yeah,
eyes at least, and I didn't want them because it's like if I partner with crappy brands, then I'm a crappy brand.
right.
So let me partner. I'll hold out or just not partner so that I can partner with the best. And
Absolutely.
I was able to. And then after I got that, I've just been so busy that I haven't had a whole lot of time with my off-road stuff, but I love it. And I honestly, from all my pages, from my Cars and Coffee page I run, from my Autohofffs, from my personal, from any pages that I run, I'm constantly sending off-road content to that page, like via DMs. And eventually I can get around to it. And I'm constantly getting content. I just one day, one day I'll focus again on that. But I love the off-road world. And one thing about off-road is when you go off-road, you beat the living shit out of the car. And
100%.
a lot of times that car is not going to drive the same when you're on your way home, on your
Hmm.
return trip, or at the end of said trail. So I don't feel comfortable doing that to, other people's cars. And and other people don't usually offer off-road cars up for drive unless you're a pro driver.
Yep.
But the supercar thing, got a lot of people that I am close with that trust my driving, and you know, some of them tell me that I'm a better driver than them, and I like to drive a lot. But I'm conscious, and I never take the cars 10 tenths, and I know where to park the car and when to use the front lift and how to approach angles and driving some of the lowest and honestly fastest cars in the world. 1200 horsepower Ferraris and 1300 horsepower McLaren Sennas, and just like, okay, yeah, you got a Senna, but this one's lower than 1300 horsepower, right?
Yep.
Or yeah, you got a Pista that's stock 710 horsepower or whatever. This one's big turbo 1200, and I did
Yeah.
215 in it, right? Like I can handle just about anything, right?
Absolutely.
Even the, I hate to say it, Cybertruck I was driving with, I didn't know the owner, and my client asked me to go pick it up. But that type of stuff happens all the time, and it's because I get to drive all those cool cars. Thankfully, I don't really need a sports car,
You're
and
right.
you know how I drive. I'm not mature enough that if I had a fast car, I would be swinging it all the
Sure.
time. I mean,
At
I'd
least
have
you're
to use
mature
my own.
enough to realize that you're not mature enough, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like I feel like us, like our egos sometimes can't handle that, but it is the truth. Like, that some of us should not be in those cars because we are gonna go ahead and speed in the wrong place, and that cop is not going to be kind enough to go ahead and just give us a warning. They're gonna follow up and follow through with what they just said. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, plenty have. Plenty have. Over many times. I just got a text today from ticket dismissers that my court date's set. I don't need to show up, thanks to them. But
Nice.
yeah, no, it's I've been pulled over quite a bit, and thankfully, again, shameless plug, ticket dismissers has really came through on me with a long time.
Forgive me. I just want to make sure. Ticket dismissers. Is their boss Cameron?
Yeah, yeah, Cameron.
Okay, all right. Shout out to Kylie Moldovan because she did,
Oh yeah,
she put me on.
Cameron.
Yeah, shout out to her because she was on the pod not too long ago, earlier this year, and she was very, how do I put this? That Cameron has saved her life on more than 100 occasions.
More than 100. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, he's awesome. And
yeah, for
all
sure.
my friends, but you know, I drive quick, and I use a radar detector. I
Mhm.
use Waze, all that stuff. I got a pretty good cop, and they always get me when I'm just not paying attention.
Absolutely.
I'm in my truck. I'm on my way boogie into something. It's early morning. Honestly, that's been my last couple tickets. Was like, I'm in my truck. I'm on my way to something, and I'm doing like 85. It's
Right.
like, You should have seen me the other day. So
Exactly. I got popped last year in my Sorrento doing 95 into 65, just trying to get home. And they popped me and they ticketed me, and I had to go ahead and do traffic school for it and whatnot. And it's like, bro, if
thankfully
you
you were able
only
to.
yeah, right. That's the great thing of Arizona is like again where there's less restrictions here than in a lot of other different states and whatnot, and you can't beat it. But like if had they only gone ahead and seen me drive 720 like 5 months prior. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna say the speeds, I'm not gonna say
yeah,
the numbers because it's not needed. Uh you know what I'm saying? It's like,
exactly, exactly.
yeah, and it's so
But
interesting, but
also,
I'm
when you're driving those cars, you're way more focused
very much so.
and scared the whole time.
Yeah, because you know for a fact that they're not going to probably let you out of anything if
They might.
they
They might.
might. I mean, if you get a real enthusiast who's like, you know what, listen, dude, I would do the same thing if I had the opportunity, but so it just all depends. It
I have
really all
so many
depends.
stories, but they're all incriminating, so I can't.
It's yeah,
I
statutes of
don't know what the
limitation are
statute of
not up yet.
limitations is. Yeah,
I hear you,
but
brother.
talk to me and like whatever the statute of limitations is. Look that up. Talk to me then. I got some
Uh,
good stories for you.
for
Some
sure.
arrests, evades, this, that. Just kidding. A
Yeah.
bunch. Anyways.
Let me ask you, I haven't gotten a chance to go ahead and talk. I don't think I have, but I wanted to go ahead and bring it up with you because you are a first gen Raptor owner. To me, the Raptor, when it's all said and done, it's going to be one of the most important cool trucks ever made in the history of pickup trucks.
Okay.
You know,
First
it's
gen, especially.
first gen, especially
I
like that really
probably
set the
won't get rid of
standard.
mine. Yeah.
And you shouldn't either, and you shouldn't, but it really set the standard. It took Dodge what 11, yeah, about 10 or 11 years to finally say, okay, we're going to go ahead and drop the Hellcat into the Ram, and we're going to do it as an off-roader. And I'm
And it
like,
still
oh
was
hell yeah.
nowhere near as good as the V6 Raptor off road.
It's very heavy, isn't it? Like a good 600 or 700 pounds
It's
heavier.
heavy, it doesn't have enough, it just didn't handle the same. It just, yeah,
Yeah,
much
but I mean it's
travel.
still dope. It's still dope.
No, it's sick,
It's
absolutely.
sick, but you're absolutely
I
right.
miss the
Like
Raptor
Ford
yet.
nailed it. Ford nailed it. Chevy has a Colorado ZR2, and as cool as that is, like it would be doper if they went ahead and took like the big LT5 from a Corvette, dropped that into a Silverado, and then went ahead and gave it the full off-road trim. Like that would be
Really,
awesome.
you're in Arizona. One
Mhm.
of my previous clients, Bouts Motorsports, this was cool. And so this is, another thing about what I do that I love is Ford went to him before they released the Raptor, gave him these trucks before the world had ever seen them. They weren't on the
Right.
road yet. And, they had already been launched to the world basically. And they were going to take them to Baja. And there's a whole YouTube uh, like video on it. I think it's like 50 minutes or something like that. And
Oh,
it's
like a full documentary. Okay.
a full documentary on it. That's pretty freaking awesome. But Ford went to them. This guy was an off-road racer. They came and said, "Hey, we want to go to Baja. You're the guy that can make this happen. Build this truck to meet Baja standards, but basically take this truck that we have and, basically same motor transmission, cab, that type of stuff, but really everything outside of that, maybe the rear end too a little bit,
Yeah.
uh, was pretty beefed up and made to withstand Baja. But and then they took it to Baja and they finished. And they took the slow and steady wins the race, and that's what they did. Um, but because I worked with this guy for a while, it was difficult because of the distance between us. I wasn't able to go get my own content, etc. I had an opportunity to see so much behind the scenes footage, photography, videography, photos of these like pre-production cars and the specific car that went to Baja, see the journey, see the trip, the stuff that didn't get publicized. And that's my truck, right? That I've had for over 5 years. And it's like, this is fucking cool. And nobody's ever going to do this.
Right.
And I get to be the guy that gets to be the voice of this. And I actually have the opportunity to share a lot of this with the world.
Right.
Uh, and that's special. It's like the stuff I get to see, I don't get to share it all, right?
Mhm.
Because I can only share what makes sense and what, a lot of times will either be impactful or get good engagement on social media.
Yeah.
Uh, but there's still a lot of other cool stuff that I wish I could share, but I just can't share it all. Anyways, yeah, Raptor's sick. I'm invested in it. I'll keep it forever. Cops, I love and support cops. They're the best. But sometimes I break rules everywhere. But I got sidetracked because I wanted to bring up like that cool thing about my job and what I
Yeah.
do that the car guys, it'll resonate. It's like imagine seeing pre-production pictures of your car that the world's never going to get to see, right?
That's
And seeing the journey along it. And like you said, that's a special truck that forever is going to
yeah.
be there and special. And actually, I don't work with him anymore, but I still have all the pictures. They're all still on my
And
computer.
the fact that it still means so much to you on top of that, like we know when you say Raptor, the way that it resonates with people should be viewed of like, no, truly Ford was onto something, especially during a time. So you and I right around the same age and whatnot. Cause like you said that you were 18 around 2012, 2013. I was
Yeah,
like,
28.
yeah. And I'm 34. So like, we're like that. You're like late
Similar
millennial.
generation. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We're like Gen Z millennial coming in through together like that. Right. And, back when before the Raptor ever came out, it was all the street trucks, right? So like F-150 SVT Lightning, which was super dope. The Dodge
Sick.
Ram SRT10, which I love and
I
adore.
almost bought one of those.
Dude,
Oh,
it's still one. It's if the Raptor's not the coolest truck of all time,
so
the
cool.
SRT10 is. You know?
I'm right there with you. It's
Yeah,
a sick truck. My dad
absolutely.
had
And
a
then
couple at his dealership when I was
yeah,
growing up, and he brought them home. I think a couple were single cabs, and then a couple were whatever their super crew cab is called for
yep.
Dodge.
Dude,
But
I love the Super Crew,
yes,
but you could only get that with the
no
four
single
speed
cab.
automatic. And then the single cab you could get with the 6 speed manual. And I was just
And
like,
you're like
oh,
in this big truck, and you got this ball right here, like a Viper, and you hit
yep,
it, and it sounds like a Viper, and it's got the Viper wheels, and it's like
yep.
this is sick. I'll probably
This
have
is
one of these days.
have you ever ridden
Unfortunately,
in
they're
one
all
before,
beat
Ali?
right now. Huh?
You've ridden and driven in one, right? In an
Yeah,
SRT10
yeah,
Ram? Yeah. They're fast. They
yeah,
have no right of being as fast as they are,
yeah.
especially back in when did they come out? 2003, 2004?
Around there, yeah.
Yeah. Like the
Five,
fact that
six.
it was a truck was going ahead and doing 0 to 60 in the high fours. What were they thinking?
Yeah.
That's
Raptor was
psychotic.
way slower than that. Yeah,
Way
Raptor's slow,
slower.
but
Way slower.
that's not what its purpose was.
No, obviously
When
not.
Ford built it, they had no idea if that market would even click or take off,
Yeah.
right? So they put it out to the world, and then it did great. And then they're
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, we can make some money here." So then they made
Absolutely.
the Raptor all fancy. Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, we can say that, oh, the TRX is too heavy and, give it, say that, you know, it's not as good as the Raptor and whatnot. But what the TRX did was, I think, re-change the game once more. Because if the TRX doesn't come out, we don't get the Raptor R because Ford, they
yeah.
took away the
No, I
V8, they went
agree.
to the EcoBoost, and
They
again,
would
it's
have
been a
wanted
great
it, but
engine.
never
Yeah,
would have pushed to do it.
absolutely. Especially at the fact that you could get a TRX that costs the same as a V6 Raptor. And then all of a sudden, okay, we're going to go ahead and bring this into market. And then, oh, whoops, we have 300 horsepower more than you do at the same price, or maybe
You know,
10 grand more. That's wow.
I'm in all the Raptor forums, all the TRX forums, and I run an off-road, have run off-road pages. And when the TRX came out, I posted it, right?
Yeah.
And when the new Raptor generations come out, I post them, right? And share them. And then I see all the comments and the responses and all that. So yeah, I 100% agree. Ford would not have than a Raptor R. They would have never been pushed to if
Yeah.
that wasn't the argument against the Raptor and why all the Dodge fanboys were like, fuck a Raptor. The TRX is God. And then Ford just had to be like, really? We can do it. And when we do
Yeah.
it, it's better.
For sure. Well, but it's better. However, I gotta ask because like the one thing that's really truly upsetting about Raptor R's, and I'd love to get your thoughts on it, is the ADM on them is absolutely out of control right now.
I mean, unfortunately, that's what, I'm an econ major. So that's supply and demand,
Sure.
and it sucks that they do it. And yeah, I mean, it just totally sucks. And
Yeah.
I have friends that have bought Raptor R's at sticker and they're
Right.
campers, right? But there are people that are forced to pay 25, 50K over sticker, and that sucks. And that's pushed a lot of people that truly would want the car to not have it,
Right.
right? Like even Gen 1 Raptors were going for over sticker.
For
Gen
sure.
2 Raptors, Gen 3 Raptors, there were cycles where they weren't, but then cycles where they were. Um, and ultimately, what's happened with like my truck
Hmm.
is it MSRP new. I have the Monroney in my garage was like 56 grand. I bought it for like 30 grand. I
Right.
could probably sell it. Well, I have a lot of aftermarket on it, but even if I didn't and it was stock, I could probably still sell it for what I
You
bought
bought it for. Yeah.
after putting like 80,000 miles on it,
Which is
right?
crazy.
Which is sick, right? That's like an appreciation. And I don't know, the Raptor R being sold for, 130, 40 grand after ADM.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with that on the secondhand market? I know that it'll be high for a while, and maybe inflation, because of how crazy it is, will catch up,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I don't know. It's unfortunate because Raptor is my dream car. I wish Ford
Yeah.
just did more, but they can't because of government emissions. Again, we can go into a crazy long conversation about why it is
Yeah.
the way it is, but I don't like them. I wish they could have them, but I totally understand it. I know
Yeah.
why they did it limited. They made uh, less Raptor R's than they have Ford dealers in the nation. So
Wow. So it's
I
like
bet you
not,
all the owners of the dealers, or at least the managers, all want a Raptor R, right?
yeah,
Plus, how many other people out in the world want a Raptor R that could afford it? Oh,
absolutely.
not all of them got it. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's tough. It's listen, man. We're living in a time where it's the hardest time to ever be a car enthusiast is right now. And what I mean by that is, like you and I, we're both car. We're car guys. We love going fast. We love V8s. We love our V10s. We love our V12s. You know, or W16s, obviously, and whatever. But at the same time, like, damn, man, like I do love the world. So it's like it's such a hard thing for me right now because I'm like, okay, a 700 horsepower a V8 pickup truck or keep the world clean.
yeah,
Like, is there any way that I can have both? Like that's all I want is a way to be able to go ahead and have both simultaneously.
yeah.
It's
I'm
tough, man.
going to plead the fifth on this topic.
I hear no, I hear you. I hear not to go ahead and put anybody on blast or anything
No,
like that.
just
And I'm not,
no, just because I
yeah,
would continue to ramble on and on, and yeah, no, I agree, and
yeah.
it's it's difficult, but there are some ways to figure things out.
Oh, I agree. We. I think you and I both know what those
Well,
ways
here's the
are.
thing: you're in Arizona. It's a
Yeah,
lot shittier in California here,
I know. And as much as I love California, I do. I love.
but
Yeah,
California is still better than Europe. You go to
and
Europe, you go to other places in the world,
yeah.
they don't have anywhere near the car culture. Or even if you go to other states, in the nation,
Hmm.
they don't have what we have. They have nowhere near the access that we have. You and
For sure.
me, we have car mecca, right?
Yep.
In the depending on how you look at it, right? We have, I guess, hypercar mecca and modification mecca
Hmm.
and influencer and shops and
Yep.
people involved in this automotive industry. Because I
Yeah.
guess you could also consider car mecca to be like, the area between Pagani, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Maserati in Italy. Or you can consider it to be where all the F1 teams are in
In the
England.
UK, right?
But we're needless to say, fortunate with what we have in close access to
I
us.
couldn't agree with you more. Let me ask you something because obviously you're California based, and I'm sure you've been out to Arizona and whatnot. Are you impressed with the growth that we're experiencing here in Phoenix, man? Because like I'm involved in it, I'm seeing it blow up every single day, whether it's from the creative standpoint, whether it's from the car ownership standpoint and whatnot. I'm mesmerized by what Phoenix as a metropolitan area has to offer. And you being out there, and I'm sure you've come out here a lot of times. Like, how do you view it? Are you seeing Phoenix go ahead and make the moves that we're seeing? And are you, what are your thoughts on it? Because especially since, you got Northern and Southern California being the mecca right now of what is car culture in the United States.
So the first time I went out to Barrett Jackson in
Yeah.
Scottsdale was 2015. I was with my grandpa. I went out to when I worked at, this timeshare company. They had a resort there in Peoria, and
Peoria is just up the road from me, actually. Shout out to Peoria.
nice.
Yeah.
And and we had a great time. We got like upgraded to like a Dodge Charger with a Hemi or something. And it was fantastic. But every year since, I've been going to King Hammers, and it falls within, one of the first weeks of school. And so just doing like King Hammers being a week-long trip in the desert, I also don't have, the time, energy, sometimes funds to
Right.
go to the Arizona Car Week. But this year I said I can't miss it. And shout out again, Dilly Deals. I actually roomed up with him, and I have a lot of friends that went, and that was my first time back for Arizona Car Week in a
It
long
was
time,
lit this year, dude.
and it was great. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was great. It's like got to add something else to the every year list. It's like great. Take on some more clients or do something.
Right.
Find somebody out there that can pay me to
No,
come.
for sure.
Uh,
What a
but no,
great compliment,
it,
though.
it's
That's a great
awesome.
compliment to our city to hear someone like yourself say, "I need to add this now onto me to my yearly events
Have
list."
to.
That's
Have to. It
so
was
cool, dude.
so awesome. I mean,
Yeah,
and again, some things didn't change from when I went, 9, 10 years ago, whatever that was.
yeah,
And the Barrett Jackson tent and experience is like, yep, this is, almost the same, which
yeah.
is cool that it hasn't, shrunk or anything. It's probably actually have grown.
Right.
Uh, but then there was other aspects of the week that it's like, okay, this is cool. Like
Mhm.
this is different. This is new. Okay, we're going over here. Oh, there's this car meet. Okay, they're having this event. This place is open. That auto car club, and,
Yep.
and these dealers like my buddy Dylan, who works for DuPont. He reviewed an Artura for a McLaren Scottsdale
Shout
dealer.
out to McLaren Scottsdale. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just, yeah. I mean, I was surrounded by great company,
Mhm.
right? And you could be in a shithole town and still have a great time if you have the right people around. So that's
Absolutely.
why, to me, it's a add to the list every year, is because I went there and I'm like, everybody's here. I
Yeah.
should I should come back, right? It's another opportunity to see all my friends again, right?
Absolutely. And
And
then
it's
next year, you and I are going to connect like
yeah,
that because that's for sure happening. We're going to
yeah.
link up.
No,
I'm just
no, I'm
letting you
going to see
know.
you in a month here at Velocity.
Oh, okay. I got to talking to the wife. Got to plan it
Yeah, yeah,
out.
we can drive
Yeah,
up.
that's absolutely, dude. But that's seriously such a kind compliment to our city to note that people outside of Arizona are seeing, oh, Phoenix
Hey, look,
metro area.
Strad Pizza's there.
Yeah, I know. And I think it's going to be opening sometime next month. I think.
Sick. I'll
Yeah,
come.
I'm looking forward
I'm
to it. I
a
mean,
big pizza guy.
yeah, man. Well, and that's the other thing is like all these creators that you and I watched for the last like 10 years, whether it was Strad, whether it was Shmi, whether it was Seen Through Glass for me in particular. And
Done videos with all of those guys, even
yeah,
years ago, and watched them all grow up and stuff. So it's like, and now, some of them are too big to where they don't even see my message and don't talk to me. And other ones are still maybe even bigger than those guys. And I'm
yep,
texting today, right? And we're
yeah,
making plans for the future and doing cool stuff.
absolutely. That's a cool
But
thing to do.
it's yeah, I just love the car community and the
Yeah.
people in it, and even like I'm saying, this guy's cool, that guy's been, whatever. It's experiencing life and different kinds of people. I learn so much about people every single day through these conversations I have
Yeah.
with different levels of really of wealth, of of egos, of different people that work in different industries, how they do things, really corporate minded people, and then really like loose, small business, and then entrepreneurs, and just I just love it, right? I love,
Yeah.
like I said, business and cars, and I've found a way to, combine the two of
Put it all
those
together.
to one thing. And
Absolutely.
uh, one thing that I love most about uh, what I do is helping change a business for the better. We're making a call that alters the direction of somebody's business, and I've had that multiple times in my career where it's like, we need to do this,
Right.
or this is the way that these things should be done. And this advice is taken, right? I can only say, hey, you should. And some opportunity will come because of it
Right.
that completely takes them into a direction that they were like, didn't know that could happen, or opens up the opportunity to collaborate with new people in a way that they couldn't before, or opens up, just providing value more
Right.
than I get is what I love. And yeah.
Dude, my question to you was going to be, what does car culture mean to you? But you just went ahead and took it for yourself. And I think you just elaborated what car culture means to Ali Hoff right there. Like, and you said it in such a good way, because it's about providing the value, yeah, but it's also about just, and I talk about this all the time. Like, isn't car culture like the best sociology experiment you've ever seen in your entire life?
Yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
it's it's really really cool because you get so many different people from all different types of backgrounds and cultures and whatnot, and we all come together all because we like to go fast in a machine that's got four tires on it and is
And
either
one thing
powered.
about the car community that uh my girlfriend and friends from the past have never been able to understand
Yeah.
is why there's so much drama, right? And we're all like high school girls, and it's like, no, you don't get it. Like, you have a falling out with someone, but then all of their friends are your friends,
Yep.
and you guys constantly show up at the same place, like at the same times, doing the same things.
It's weird.
Like, it's just, but it
we're
is
on an,
like
we're
you
all in
said,
our
it's
own reality show, bro.
because of that, like there's no other communities really in the world that I can think of. I'm sure once you get real high up in every community, it's like that. But the car community is so big
Mhm.
uh, that there's not a lot of opportunities in different, passions or hobbies. Or some hobbies are so big and so passionate that there is so much that it's easy to step away uh, from people and things.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's inescapable for us.
for sure.
It is a sociology experiment, and it's like I say, it's like I just said, you learn so much about people by just
Yeah.
watching them play with their cars, and then some people getting money, and then getting an ego that comes along with the cars, and it's like it's undeserved, and or getting a little bit of fame, right?
Yeah.
And they don't talk to those people that they once did, and it's like, or they talk to you one way behind closed doors, but then when the camera's rolling, or when they're in front of people that are cooler than you, that they think, then it's like, okay.
Right.
Or like for me, like I'm
Mhm.
28 and I've been doing this for, years now. I'm just kind of a kid, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like a kid,
Telling
some
me, dude,
people
I
tell
do
me I'm
too.
old. Yeah, exactly, right. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how we are when we're cars, but I mean, realistically, I am young,
Yeah.
and I have these guys that will treat me as such and disregard me, but then their friends will all treat me as one of their close friends, and
Yeah.
people will come to me for things, and then eventually at some point they're going to have to come to me for something, or
Right.
I'm the gatekeeper to something, or whatever. And it's not that I have this big ego and love the "I told you so" moments or whatever, but it's just like you said, a sociology experiment to see how these people act. They're in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and they still don't have decency to treat everybody like somebody that, can not only provide value to them, but somebody that they should just be kind to, because that's
Absolutely.
the way the world is. And they think it's this game that they have to, level up, talk to the right people, do the right things, buy the right cars, be in the right places, spend this money, that money. It's like, no, fuck that. It's all about having a good time.
I agree.
Sometimes the cars get you into the right circles, sometimes buying the right tickets, sometimes talking to the right people, for sure. But if there's somebody along the way that's there and is like, hey man, what's up? You can say what's up to them, and you
Absolutely.
talk cars. One good example of that was at Car Week this year. There was a guy that was a lot tenant for this lot that I parked. I tow my friend's 52-foot trailer behind his F450. It had three cars in it. I just unloaded the cars, and I was stressed, and I had places to be and things to do and people waiting. And this guy just started talking about cars. And obviously he's the lot guy and I want to be his friend, but I didn't have to talk to him for half an hour.
And you
But I
did.
just at one point just stopped and said, you know what? Let me just talk to this guy.
Yeah.
Let's see what it is. After about 30 minutes, I said, this could go all night. I gotta go. But just give people decency, give people time.
Absolutely.
Like
It's just a
I wouldn't
reminder to be
want to be
kind,
that
dog.
guy that doesn't have the opportunities that I have or the cars and be blown off.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm with you, dude. No, I love that. And it's been a treat, man. It's been such a treat. Thank you for doing it. I
thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
I knew it
Again,
was
I
going to
can
be a
talk
great
all
conversation.
day because
No,
we're
I
like
know. I
bros.
can too, brother.
We're
I
talking
can
business and
too.
cars.
Yeah. No, well, you know what? This is a reminder to A, be kind. B, there's a certain, I think the word is naivete, right? Because that I wish car enthusiasts could still keep. You know what I'm saying? Because the egos run rampant within car culture. We kind of know that, but I wish that if we could if we could keep a little bit of that
Exploded by
naivete,
social media.
big time, 100%. The follower counts are crazy, and they go ahead and can change people for the better, or they can change people for the worse. And a lot of times, we see a change for the people for the worse, and it's unfortunate. But
There's a
like,
lot of good people out there, but
very
definitely
much so,
it gets to some people for
it
sure.
does. It very much does, and I feel like if
There's a lot of
people,
guys that do charity giveaways,
yep,
are positive, putting good messages out, but then there's some others that are just sour.
I
So
agree. I couldn't agree with you more. And I think it's just a nice reminder of remember what brought you to the dance to begin with. You know,
nice.
like if you were that guy or gal who was just fascinated, like what's Nick Cage saying? Gone in 60 Seconds. He never cared about stealing the cars. The thing that
Just
motivated
think
him
about
most
the Nick
were
Cage
the
meme.
colors. Absolutely, blasting down the Palm Springs and Marlboro Red or whatever like that. That's I'm not trying to be cliche, but if you remember those things in the back of your head, it'll remind you of like this is the reason why we love car culture to begin with.
Straight up.
That's all. Ali, I appreciate you, my brother. Where can the people go ahead and find you on Instagram if they're not following you, which they would probably be doing themselves a disservice if they're not?
Uh, I mean, my most active one, supercars, which is seems what your demographic is Autohofffs,
Yep.
AUTOHOFFS. My last name is Hoff. And then Hoff Off Road, HOFF Off Road. Those are my two main brands. Uh, and by the time this podcast is released, Velocity Invitational is
Yes.
going to be very close. I think everybody should go to that. It's going to be an amazing year. I still have some announcements that actually I can't even speak on yet, but they'll probably be announced by the time this podcast comes out. And it's just going to be sick. So I'm looking forward to seeing you there, my friend,
Thank you.
and anybody else. But yeah, Autohofffs, be good. Love thy neighbor, and
Love that neighbor as you love yourself.
straight up, man. And
Spitting Bible verses here, baby. Let's
like
go.
you
I love
said,
it.
man, like you said, just yeah, I mean, straight up,
Yeah.
all glory. But remember why you came to the dance to begin.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up,
Absolutely.
that's what it is, and that's what There's some people that came to this dance for money.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if you came for the money, that's cool, but like be kind along the way, bro. That's all we
yeah,
ask.
but I came for the cars, and I grew up in it, and I
Yep.
love it. I'm passionate about it, and
I'm with
thank
you
you for having
100%.
me here. Thank you for having this platform and reaching out and
Yep.
asking and seeing what I do all the time. And And yeah, I look forward to anybody that wants to talk. Hit me up. I try to
Absolutely.
respond to everyone.
Dude, well, you've been too kind, and it's truly a treat to get a chance to go ahead and follow your journey every single day. And that I mean, you hauling an F4 with an F450 and a 52-foot trailer, like I was just like that is a talent in and of itself, my brother.
It is.
And so it really is, dude.
They drive
I don't
anything.
think people,
Oh,
I don't think people understand the stress
semis,
levels.
tractors, yeah,
Yep.
all
And
that
then
stuff.
hauling precious cargo of at least 1.5 million in the back. Like at least. And I don't even think that my math is right on that, honestly. I think it probably
Sometimes
more than
it's there, sometimes it's more.
yeah. So power to you, man. And I will do everything I can to go ahead and make sure I see you at Velocity. But that being said, please go ahead and check out Ali at Autohofffs and at Hoffs Off Road. And then you can go ahead and find Tormenting Tarmac on Instagram at Tormenting Tarmac. And we're going to be streaming on Apple Podcasts and Google, or not Google anymore. That's more YouTube now. Excuse me. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a variety of other different platforms that you can go ahead and find us on. And I think I'm going to be putting this one on YouTube as well, so you can see mine and Ali's beautiful faces right here. His facial hair is better than mine. That being said, on behalf of Ali, my name is Jorge Aquino. You've been listening to Tormenting Tarmac, is the podcast where the enthusiast never dies. Have a great night, everybody.